Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain is coming out this Tuesday. Tuesday? What the fuck is that?
Get a grip!
We finally get to see what happens, how Big Boss went from like this nice guy who wants to help out and kind of went a little south at the end of Peace Walker.
We will forsake our countries. We will leave our motherlands behind us and become one with this earth.
To just a murderous bastard who wants to kill his own kid. So with this game coming out, it made me think about, like a lot of other Metal Gear fans, what's the movie going to be like? They're actually producing it now. They have a screenwriter who I never heard of who's writing it, but maybe he'll be good, we don't know. The producer on it, his name is Ari or Rad or whatever the fuck. Do you know how to say his name?
So I asked a producer friend of mine in Hollywood, Avi Arad, for advice. He's the one who introduced me to Mr. Kiefer Sutherland.
How can they make this movie and not fuck it up? Because throughout history, video game movies have sucked in general. Here are some of my ideas. Maybe they suck as well, or maybe they're good, but here it goes.
Oh, great!
The first thing you want to work on is the style. The thing with Metal Gear is that it has a really crazy style. It'll go from something that's beautiful and expressionistic.
War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine.
To something that's incredibly, like, out of nowhere, left field, stupid and silly.
Diarrhea.
But in the world of Metal Gear, when you're playing a game that's like, 20 hours long, you can kind of excuse it and it can keep going. Fuck.
You idiot!
You want to take out that ridiculous, exaggerated humor because it doesn't work. Sure, those Kojima-isms are hilarious for the game, especially if you're playing it for 20 hours straight, but for a movie, it's not going to work.
Sunlight!
This is a series with crazy-ass shit in it. You have cyborg ninjas in it, you have robot dinosaurs, which are the Metal Gears in Metal Gear that shoot missiles out of itself and lasers out of its dick. You'd have to ground it in reality, take out those things like the cyborg ninja, but leave Metal Gear in there. You gotta compare apples to oranges, sort of, and figure out what you're gonna put in the story that's gonna make sense. You're gonna have to find a very thin line of a balancing act in order to make the movie work within a grounded reality, but at the same time know how it can be faithful to the source material. And it's going to be very tricky, which is probably why a Metal Gear film hasn't been made in so long. How do you not screw it up? Have it low contrast. Think of the way Michael Mann shoots his movies, or other directors. Have it look like an actual film, not like your typical blockbuster. Don't make it look like something from Joss Whedon or J.J. Abrams. Have it look like a movie that you would see that doesn't have anything to do with a video game or a comic book or anything of that nature. Make it look unique. And that is to make it look ununique by making it look unique, if that makes sense. Look at Batman Begins. When they shot that, it looked like an adventure film. It looked like a story about a guy who becomes this thing. It didn't have like harsh reds and greens everywhere. It was sort of washed out, and that's the thing. That color palette is really important to the overall mise-en-scène, which means everything in the scene. I learned that from film school, which is still pointless, but whatever, of the film. Number 2 would be the plot. Metal Gear is a series with the most convoluted fucking plot you will ever see in your entire fucking life.
The so-called Gulf War babies that have been reported by Gulf War veterans are...
Yes. They too are our brothers and sisters.
The White House was our primordial soup, a base of evolution.
The way to JD was opened, but only through the physical manifestation of GW.
How are you going to make that plot make sense? Take elements from 1 and 2 and put it together into one film. Condense it and make it simpler. Something like The Patriots, for instance, should be something that's changed and simpler than having to take 20 minutes to explain what the Patriots are. They shouldn't be this crazy super AI that controls every aspect of somebody's life.
As long as this nation exists, so will we.
It should be something more simple. Something like the way it started out with Zero.
So long as Zero remains, One will eventually grow to 100 again.
Hey, this isn't first grade math class.
Like the real people who control America, and just make it something that you can instantaneously pick up on.
Got it.
Because if someone's not a fan of Metal Gear and you're giving them all this information and people are having long, windy monologues that you want to completely avoid, make sure that you take those elements and chop, chop, chop them.
I need scissors. 61.
Make things make sense.
Lolly lule low. Lolly lule low. Lolly lule low.
Now, another thing with the plot on the side note is you want to still have huge plot twists.
Big boss.
And you want to make this story unique to the film itself. Don't just have things from the game that you copy and paste into the film. Don't have the movie be predictable. Because guess what? That's what the Star Wars prequels did.
I killed them. I killed them all.
We all know Anakin Skywalker is going to become Darth Vader. We know things are going to go wrong. The interesting thing was seeing how that was going to happen. But the thing was, it just kind of followed a slavish bullet point that was very predictable of how it goes into each act. What if the movie has things that you still don't see coming, that guys who played the game don't see coming, but it's still faithful to the game, and they don't completely bastardize the character through its changes? Let's talk about the length of the movie.
How much time do I have left?
The movie should not be an hour and a half, because with all the information that you gotta shove in a Metal Gear film, you are going to lose your audience. 2 hours and 20 minutes seems like a length that maybe people would still go and see the movie at. 2.5 hours is really the sweet spot, because you have the audience get some room to breathe between scenes. You're gonna have to get rid of a lot of characters that people love.
What?
It would be really cool to see Vulcan Raven and Sniper Wolf. It would be great to see all those original bad guys from the game. It'd be great to see all the original bad guys from the second game in a trailer. But if you see them in the film, in the context of the film, how are they going to contribute to the story? How are they going to make that story better? And in the end, there's an old film saying, which is, sometimes you have to kill a baby.
If you die, my child dies. You understand? The child.
Because in the end, you're making a movie, not a video game. Don't make a movie just to reenact boss battles from the game. Try to keep it within the context of being faithful to the material, but different at the same time. So, you're going to have to get rid of some of those characters, unfortunately.
Damn!
What is the theme of your film? What is it trying to say? Metal Gear has always been particularly interesting because it's a story about nuclear deterrence. It's a story about anti-war. It's a story about how governmental control can become too large and too dangerous and too corporatized, too powerful.
I will triumph over the Patriots and liberate us all.
It's a story about corruption. It's a story about the toll of war that should be echoed in this story. Because guess what? Yes, you're making a movie for money.
We're in the money. The sky is sunny.
Yes, you're supposed to grab as many people as possible. That's the problem with commercial art. But how can you make that film transcendent and try to have it say something unique that will connect to audiences where people who don't even know that it's based on a video game walk in and get something out of that story? Make sure those themes of anti-war, corporate control communicate within the film and have it relate directly to the characters on an emotional level that can reach everyone. Now, to make this thing really work is you're going to have to split it up into 3 films. The story of Metal Gear is way too big for one movie, and with today in Hollywood, you tell them you want sequels, they're going to love you because everything is going to be made into a franchise anyways. It's business. Yeah. What would movie 2 be? Movie 2 would be Big Boss's story. It would be what the Phantom Pain is going to show us. How do we see Jack, who ends up becoming Naked Snake, become Big Boss and become evil? How do we show him go from being good to evil in a believable, tangible way that's emotionally crushing? Because when you're talking about Big Boss's story, you're talking about a Greek tragedy. And then for movie 3, it would essentially be like Metal Gear Solid 4, where characters come together from the past and from the present, and everything comes to a head into a conclusion. And then by movie 3, they take the elements from 1 and 2, and they combine it together into what will hopefully be a great climax. And it's rare for the third film to be the best of the bunch, as they usually wind up to be the weakest of the bunch. So how do we make it either the strongest one or just as good as movie 1? Because making it the best is going to be hard to do. Those are my ideas so far.
Oh, great.
Say in the comments section below what you think of them. I know nobody watches this show, so it's not going to fucking matter anyways.
Well spoken.
And like in all films, remember, ideas are subject to change. Because what seems like a good idea one day seems like a bad idea the other.
Jar Jar is a key to all this. If we get Jar Jar working, because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
Tell me what I'm wrong about. Tell me how I can fix it. Because in the end, it's a collaborative effort.